Okay, in our last tutorial, we set up our layers, and we created this layer with a moving object. And it doesn't move yet, and it's a pole, and I've decided since the last video that I'm going to replace this rectangle with a tree I drew in Illustrator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this, and I'm going to delete it or hit clear, so there's nothing there anymore. Now I'm going to come into Illustrator, and you can draw whatever moving object you want. And I'm going to select my tree. I'm going to first make sure it's grouped. Okay, that's good. I'm going to go Edit, Copy, and I'm going to come into Animate, and we're going to go Edit, Paste. Okay, now remember, we can just paste in center for now. Now remember that we want to make sure we uncheck Maintain Layers. Okay, if you're importing something in from Illustrator, always uncheck Maintain Layers. Okay, we're going to hit OK, and I'm going to move it where I want. Now, good thing the robot layer was already locked, so I didn't have to worry about that. I'm going to move it off screen, okay, because we're going to make this move across the screen. So it's pretty neat. Now, and by the way, if you've noticed, when you import something in from Illustrator into Flash, Animate, I said Flash because it wrote Flash right here. It changes the name of your layer, so I'm going to go ahead and call this tree now. It used to say moving object, then it changed when I imported, and I'm just going to label it tree. And I'm going to click in this first frame. Now, remember the properties window has the tree selected, so it's showing properties about the tree graphic. And then when I click into the frame, it's going to, I think I lied. Now it's showing, I click the tree, and now it's showing properties of the tree. And now when I click the frame, it's showing properties of the frame. Okay, I'm going to right-click the first keyframe of the tree layer, and I'm going to say Create Motion Tween, and a dialog box should pop up. There we go. It can't be tweened. You must convert it to a symbol to tween it. And yes, we do want to do that, so we're going to hit OK. But first, let me show you something. I'm going to have the library open, and there's no library items here. When I right-click and do Create Motion Tween, it's going to say, do you want to create a symbol? And it's going to populate my library with a new symbol when I hit OK. There it is. It has a tree in there. And I'm going to double-click and label this tree so my library can stay organized as I put more objects in. And I can go back to the Properties window and now see what properties this object has. It's a movie clip. Doesn't have an instance name yet, or we'll get into that when we create video games. We'll give things instance names. Now anyway, so we've created a motion tween for this frame, and I've clicked into the frame, and you can see that there's a motion tween. So I'm going to go to the last frame on this layer, and I'm going to move the tree across the screen, all the way across. And what's cool is it just did some magic for you. And if you scroll across the numbers on the timeline, you'll see that the tree moves from the first frame to the last. I can go in reverse and back and forth. Now let's see what it looks like when we go Control Test. Wow, he's really going fast. Okay, so what I think we need to do is now we're going to extend the timeline. So this is getting to the end and looping. So we get 30 frames per second. So that tree is going across the screen in like half a second. So let's see what happens if we just drag across all the layers, or you could do it individually. You could right-click and say Insert Frame, and now there's a frame existing on this layer but nothing else. So I'm going to have to right-click and insert a frame on all the layers. I could do it one by one, or I could have selected all the layers at once. Okay, and we've added frames, and now let's see what happens. Test. There's like a pause. Okay, so first off, I'm going to adjust the tree. I'm going to click this last point of the tween, the motion tween, and I'm going to simply drag it. I click, let go, and then I drag it all the way to the right. So that should fix the tree taking a little longer to get there, but then the robot pauses. So I need to loop this robot animation. I'm going to make sure I lock the tree layer. They're all locked, and unlock the robot. Now I'm going to do something tricky here. I am going to copy these frames. I've highlighted 15 frames. Now I'm going to highlight this area, and I'm going to right click and say paste frames. Where's paste frames? Paste frames. Sorry, paste and overwrite frames. Paste and overwrite frames. Okay, so now we have him walking and walking. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, slowed the tree down a little bit. And I think his walk animation isn't perfect because when I pasted, it looks like he went from there to there, and then it's, you know, it's not spaced out entirely correct. So it should be up to 32 frames, I believe. So I don't want to work on that during this video. I think I'll clean it up in the next video. But go ahead and do a motion tween with an object going across the screen and have fun with that. Okay.